In this episode, I had Andrew Kelling on. He is the founder of Sherman Buildings, and he is also my father. It felt so good to have him on, sharing some of his wisdom that I've gotten to hear throughout my life, and about how he's always chased what scared him. He's encouraged my brothers and I to go off and do something different besides pole sheds, but all four of us are heavily involved in this company, and also a few of his grandchildren. I hope that you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed recording it. All right. Hi, Andrew. Thank you for coming in. So you started Kelling Construction in 1976, correct?
Correct.
When did it switch to Sherman Lumber?
We started Sherman Lumber in 93, and then we incorporated the two companies in 1996. So there were two separate companies for 3 years.
And what made you want to build pole sheds?
Well, I grew up with a neighbor who had no children, and he kind of took me under his arm, and we helped him do remodeling work. So I kind of enjoyed seeing how things fit together with wood. Then I dairy farmed until I was 30, and I thought to myself, if I don't try something like that now, a few more years I'll be too scared to try it. So I just jumped in it head first.
Awesome. So who encouraged you the most at that time?
At the very beginning,
Yeah.
Wilfred Osman.
How did he encourage you?
He just was the kind of person that was an encouraging type person. He says, yeah, go for it. If you have any questions, ask me, because I've done it for many, many years. But he was the house builder. And then my wife's, Teresa's grandfather, Roger Davis, helped me on the first two. And the very first one I built was for Roger Altoff. I don't know for sure how I got the job. And the second one was for Laird Mork, who was the manager of EPC in town. So after two buildings, I was a foreman and took over 100%. Nobody will ever beat that record.
Anybody else that was encouraging to you at that time that you can think of?
Billy Sherman. Those two people were encouraging to me.
So you've told me before that you went and knocked on doors and asked people if you could clean their gutters because you needed work. What year was that?
It wasn't cleaning gutters, it was reshingling their house.
Okay.
We started in 76, and the recession came along in 81 or 82. So I almost had no work. So I started knocking on doors because I had been doing some re-roofing. And it took the 10th person I knocked on the door to get my first job.
What do you think that taught you?
Persistence.
Awesome. Okay. So I've heard you say, if other people can figure it out, so can I. Where did you get that confidence? Because the rest of us kind of think, oh, that looks too hard. I don't think I can ever do that. But you look and say, somebody else did it. That means I can do it.
Where did that come from? I don't know for sure. But I continually used to tell myself that if somebody else can figure it out, why can't I? Or I can too.
So the first time that you thought that, it was just came into your head?
Yes.
Okay. You often say that there's two ways that people learn. What are those ways?
Well, the two best ways, in my opinion, people learn. It either hurts you physically or financially. In the construction company business, if you hit your thumb with a hammer, you learn to quit doing it. If you make a mistake that costs you financially, you try to not make that mistake again.
So the thing that I look up to you the most on is how you do things that are hard. I remember you saying that being in the church and community plays scared you, but that's why you did them. So why? What made you do the things that were hard and that scared you?
Well, I didn't like being afraid of things, and I read someplace, confront your fears. So I decided, I'm going to go for this. I really have, even in high school, I kind of wanted to be in plays and do some acting, but I was too shy and too scared. And finally, this opportunity came up, and I thought, I'm going to go for it no matter what.
Awesome.
But there are things that I'm afraid of doing that I won't do, and that's like jump off the entire Empire State Building. Even though I'm afraid I'm not going to do that.
Good. So your dad pressured you to stay and work on the farm. So you always encouraged me and my brothers to leave, and we all ended up staying. So what did it feel like when your dad pressured you, and what did it feel like when you told him, no, I'm not going to stick with dairy farming?
What did it feel like? Well, I didn't start it until I was 30. And at 24 years old, I was still had sold my share of the farm back to Dad and my brother Jim and started on my own. And for years, my dad was a very different kind of a person, two ways of doing things, his way and the wrong way. So I thought I should imitate him and follow his footsteps. At 24 years old, somehow or other, it dawned on me, I can make my own footsteps. So for him trying to get me to stay there was a manipulating term to enhance him. And I thought I can make my own footsteps. I can go my own way. It was really a good revelation for me to not have to try to imitate somebody else. There's only one person in the world you should imitate, and he died on the cross.
Yeah. What does erect to protect mean to you, our slogan?
Erect to protect. Well, everybody has toys, whether it be snowmobiles or four-wheelers or tractors or whatever. So we like to build buildings to keep these implements or machinery or toys inside, away from the elements, especially here in Minnesota, of snow and ice. Mm-hmm. And the sun can beat down on your machinery and fade the colors of your tractor or machinery or car. Mm-hmm. And it's just a good way to protect your toys.
Yeah. So you told me one time a story about your mom protecting you.
Yes.
Can you get into that, please? Can you tell me about that?
Well, my dad was seemed like a very angry person, and I did something I don't remember what it was, that he was really angry.
How old were you?
10, maybe 10 or 11. My dad was 6'1", my mother was 5'1". And we'd had several beatings already through the years, and he was going to beat me again. And Mom put me behind her back and wouldn't let it. Brings tears to my eyes when I think about it. Little Mom, like a mother bear protecting her cub.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You told me that story for the first time this year, and you told me that you can still see it and you can still feel it, how it felt.
Oh, yeah, it brings tears to my eyes when I think about how protective she was of me.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's why you've spent your life protecting your family and everybody around you, your employees, and helping protect other people's personal belongings.
I guess I never made that connection before, but it probably is.
Yeah. And then you told me that you only had one regret in life. Do you remember what that was?
Yes, I do. I regret that I didn't show more appreciation to my mother. My dad was so dominant that to many us kids' eyes, Mom was almost nothing. So we never went to her for anything. And yet, but she was always there. I wish I'd shown more appreciation to her when she was still alive. I did help her a lot. I was one of the few kids that had an emotional connection with her. I used to help her hang clothes on the line and this and that. And she taught me how to cut bread. She always baked bread. I can still cut a loaf of bread almost perfect. She taught me how to sew on buttons and do different things. And so I was sensitive to try to help her all the time. Her and the girls, my sisters, they didn't get along very well in the kitchen. They were always trying to tell Mom what to do, or I was just there to help.
Yeah. Peeling apples, too. I remember you told me you used to peel apples with your mom, right?
Yeah, and shell peas. Because the peas, you could eat them green in the pod. But she had some of them that way, but in the fall, after they got ripe, then you had to pop the pods open and the dry peas were on the inside.
Thank you for encouraging me to know that I could do anything I wanted in life. What was it?
Yes, I used to tell you, because and still is yet today, women don't have the same opportunities that men do. I used to bring up to you about Margaret Thatcher, the Premier of England. So I wanted you to see, hey, women can run a country, so there isn't anything you can't do. Physically, there's some things you can't do. But business-wise and whatnot, there is no limit. Women are, I think, in my opinion, women are probably smarter than men and can multitask better.
Yeah, in
But
some ways.
both males and females have their own weaknesses, you know.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to share about Sherman?
How I'm so, well, maybe the word isn't pride, but feel really good about that is perpetuating down through the generations. The third generation is now heavily involved. And I like to surround myself by self-motivated people. It's hard for me to work with somebody who's always coming around trying to get a pat on the back, you know.
But you've always told me to surround yourself around people smarter than you.
Yes, I have never had a problem with that because in the beginning when I first started the construction company, well, the guy's name was, gotta say his name, Ron Thomas. He didn't hardly know one end of the hammer from the other. Once I taught him how to do, like soften fascias, he was better at it than I was. I'm kind of a jack of all trades and master of none. I knew how to do things, but I didn't always get them to turn out right.
Yeah.
So to surround people, I mean, every job here at Sherman Lumber, at one time I did them all. The bookkeeper, the mechanic, the salesman, the builder, the collector, the order of materials, all that. Payroll, did the payroll, everything. Now we got people that do all those jobs, and every one of them is better at it than I ever was. So it doesn't surround me. And I think I've heard and read many small businesses, the reason why they fail is they think they have to be the smartest and the best. And I'm continually want to look for people who are better than I am.
Yeah.
So the reason I look so good is because I surround myself around so many smart people that make me look good.
Yep.
And
Okay.
you talk about the humor. I was serious for so many years running the business, and now that I'm kind of on the edge of it, I can let loose a little more.
Yeah. You've always had such a good sense of humor, though.
Yeah, some people, your mother doesn't always think so. But
This is a picture of the first building you ever built 49 years ago. For listeners, it has brown wall steel and white trim. Do you remember we went to knock on the door a couple years ago and asked if we could get a picture?
yes, I remember that.
Yeah, that was so nice of them to let us stand there. Do you remember that day?
Yes, I do. It was you and I and Devin and Heather.
Yeah. Do you remember the day building the building?
Yeah, just barely. You know.
Yeah.
There's been 1,000 of them since, you know.
Yeah. How does it feel to have been in business for 49 years?
Wonderful. I've enjoyed almost all of it. No business is ever perfect, but I'd say 95% of the time has been wonderful. And it's especially wonderful to have 3 of my children and 3 of my grandchildren and some in-laws and outlaws involved now, too.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can wrap it up today. Thank you for being brave and starting this company. I love working here so much.
Yeah, you know, when I was younger, I didn't have any fear. I didn't think about you just jump in with both feet. But I had confidence. I knew I was a good, hard-working person, and I felt that hard work, long hours, you could be successful.
Awesome.
And God has blessed me very much so. Give him the credit.
Awesome. Thanks.